Welcome back. Now, would you be happy to share your most intimate and private moments with the world? Well, my next guests are a Cork couple. They've taken the internet by storm by doing just that. Over 160 million people have tuned in at some stage to watch this Irish couple, so they must be doing something right. To tell us more, please welcome Anna and Jonathan Sacconejolys. So, can we just maybe explain something first? Sacconejolys, who's Saccone and who's Jolie?
I'm Saccone.
I'm the Jolie part.
Okay, and they are not traditional Cork names, but there's a bit of foreign blood there, is there?
Well, actually, if we actually went by Irish names, it would be Ní Heffernan Casey.
Yeah.
So, a little bit different to Sacconejolys.
His dad is French, was originally French, and my dad was Italian.
Okay, but I think the important part is that you got to go first in the double barrel as the...
Yeah. Well, my mom was a bit like, why isn't it Jolie Saccone?
He argues that the stronger name is on the bottom, like it's at the end. So
listen, whatever he wants.
That's how we made it work.
Yeah, you leave him alone with that one. So, guys, I kind of feel I know you because, Anna, I actually watched you give birth to your second child, I think, and 2 million people also watched it, and another 500,000 have seen it now. I feel I've been at your wedding. I've seen your new house and everything. I've had the tour and stuff. So maybe just explain to people who don't get it, Jonathan, what it is you do.
Just making videos about your life, you know? It's quite as simple. Like a lot of reality TV nowadays is like focuses on the negative and focuses on the drama. And I think what we kind of do is just make fun videos about like the positive things in life, the happy things, just playing with our kids and just living life.
Okay, would you just assure people, though, and assure me that there are fights and stuff?
Oh, there's fights.
There are.
Okay, because I did think you were better people than me.
Yeah.
But no.
I think if we did actually have like a producer, if someone else was in charge of the show, like it would be a very different show.
Okay, and you put up then about, is it 20-minute episode every day?
About 15 minutes.
15 minutes episode every day. And this is how you guys make your living, yes?
Yeah.
Now, yeah.
For a long time it wasn't. It was tough. You know, because I had a full-time job as well. And you were like waiting, going like, one day this might make rent. And then eventually after like 2 years, it finally did. Okay,
and is it good living?
Yeah, it gets hard. Like it's a 7-day-a-week job, you know, and it's like you're turning it around all the time. And it is all-consuming. It's like a lifestyle, you know.
Yeah.
But it is good.
You see, I'm wondering about, now, for the first, say, 4 odd years of this, you lived in Cork. And Cork people generally like to keep their business to themselves, don't they? So how did your friends and family react to the fact that, Anna, you were putting up, you know, all your family business up online?
I think, like Jonathan said, it's because there's no producer kind of from the outside pulling the strings, and it's just the two of us that are in control. We never felt like we were sharing too much. You know, it was always a comfortable level, and we were always okay with what we were sharing, so it's kind of like what you would put on Facebook. So you might say that it's the intimate details of our lives, but it really isn't. It's just like 15 minutes of a 24-hour day. So I like that about it, that we have the freedom and the control
and
to
the control,
do that.
yeah. But I suppose what some people would say is that the kids don't have a choice in this, and people might say, well, like, is it right to be exposing the kids like that?
I think it's really hard to answer that question, you know, because it's like, maybe in the years to come, you know, the kids will be old enough to be able to answer that question, you know, but currently they're very happy. Like, every time they go for their...
Because they probably don't know, do they? They probably don't realise it?
I think what's interesting about it is that they are reaping the benefits from that because they get both of their parents with them 24/7, which most kids unfortunately don't. I mean, either parent is off at work. And so what we've found, you know, for the most part, 99% of the time, people have said to us how happy and commented how happy our kids seem. And they feel that that's the reason, is that they get their parents with them 24/7.
Which is a great situation.
No doubt, and I think that if you ask them what they would prefer, I think that's what any child would prefer. So I think at the end of the day, I mean, obviously not everybody is going to agree with what you do in life, but as parents, we do the best we can.
Okay, okay. And tell me, you've moved to London now. Is that kind of a career move on your part to make this bigger?
I think so. I think so. You know, I remember about 2 years ago, I came across this company called Gleam. You know, they were a management agency, and I saw a lot of talent on YouTube who are sort of, you know, looking at like getting management to look after them. And I was thinking, oh, I think this could be really good. You know, if we do this. And it took me about 2 years to like find them, sit down with the guy who runs it, Dom, and then like, you know, to actually get a meeting and say like, I think we have something, you know, I think this little Irish YouTube channel has something that people want to watch, you know. And then he said to me, he was like, look, well, after a lot of negotiating, you know, he said like, if you guys move to London, yeah, I think there could be something here. You know, I remember saying that, and I was like, we were pregnant with Eduardo at the time, and I was like, would you ever get that baby out, would you? And I was like, once we had Eduardo, I was like, come on, let's take this risk, you know, let's see, could our little video series be something really big?
Yeah, and this is a viable career, the YouTubing. Like, there's a lot of people, like probably more in the States and stuff, are making good livings out of this kind of thing.
I think for a long time it was predominantly America, but now, like, you know, Europe is waking up, and, you know, Ireland, even right now in Ireland, like, there's a good handful of big up-and-coming YouTubers.
Listen, I'm told that people can be quite negative on the internet sometimes. I suppose people can be quite negative in general. Do you get much negative feedback, or do you get bitchy comments and all that kind of stuff, or how do you deal with it?
I think, like...
Careful now, this is live.
I think, like everything on the internet, obviously you've got freedom of speech, and you don't have to, you know, you're behind a computer screen, so you can say whatever you want. And obviously sometimes the negative screams a lot louder than the positive. But when we meet people in real life, it's always positive, and that's, for me, what it's all about. So I just take it as, if it's not something that somebody would say to me in real life, then it's not even worth mentioning or worth noticing.
Okay, so you can filter all that out.
With the freedom of speech comes the freedom of blocking, deleting, removing.
Okay.
So we exercise that right.
Very, very good. Guys, it's a fascinating story, and I look forward to see how it's going to develop. Thanks a million. Ladies and gentlemen, Anna and Jonathan Sacconejolys. Now, in 2012, my